And yes, it is New Day. We're still streaming live from the studios of TV3, First the News, Best in Entertainment. I mentioned earlier on in the program, it's World Prematurity Day today. And so we're seeking to have some amplitude of comprehension into issues surrounding preterm births. If you think about the fact that the statistics are really alarming, about 23,000 babies are lost, premature babies are lost in Ghana annually. That's something we must look at. And so we're talking about this. My guest is Edith Ubukeri. She is a co-founder of Little Big Souls. I vaguely recall meeting Edith years ago, but we'll find out. You're welcome.
Thank you.
When last were you here at TV3?
Probably in about 2012 or 2012. But we were here in 2010
that explains it. Yes, I was here in 2012. Well, good to see you again.
Thank you.
And good to see that Little Big Souls is flourishing. Yeah, you're doing well. Yes. So I remember that you're more baby centric. Yes. What informs your passion for babies?
Well, Little Big Souls is a charity for premature babies. We see ourselves as the voice for the premature baby born in Africa. So our mission is Africa-wide and our base is Ghana. Okay. Our objective is to give all premature babies a fighting chance at life. And that your location, where you're born, should not determine your chances of survival as a preterm baby.
Which unfortunately is the case.
It is the case, yes. We're losing a lot of babies in our region, the sub-Saharan Africa region, just because we don't have some of the resources that the West has.
Yeah. So this is the leading cause of death in newborns. It's the #2 killer of children under 5 after pneumonia.
After pneumonia.
What is, you're not a medical person, but what medically is prematurity? How would you explain or define preterm birth?
Okay, well, medically it's defined as birth that happens before 37 weeks of gestation. Okay. So a normal birth is 40 weeks.
40 weeks.
Yes. So a birth that comes in 37 weeks and under is classed as preterm.
Wow.
But we have late preterms, and we also have very early preterms born at about 22 to 24 weeks.
I see.
We are getting survivals now of babies that are born at 22 weeks.
So just 3 weeks to 40 weeks actually makes a difference.
It does.
And that's why we're recording some 23,000 deaths, in such children. And I think I shudder the thought of the greater number that is not even recorded. Yes. Because there's a great number of births that are not recorded in health facilities.
So this is in the formal sector and where we can have data. But yes, there must be a lot more that we're not recording. And it is alarming because we do know that out of the numbers that globally, we have 15 million babies that are born annually, and we lose about 1.2 million every year. But we do know that 75% of the deaths could be avoided with certain interventions and if we had certain resources. So we can do more, and that's what we're striving for.
There must be risk factors. Are there people who are naturally prone to having a preterm delivery?
Well, yes. I mean, I had a preterm delivery years ago. But medically, there are factors. We promote safe and careful pregnancy. We advise people to have antenatal care. But things like, there's certain conditions that predispose you to have a preterm baby. It could be multiple births. It could be people who have babies very early, young girls.
Yes, under 17, yes. And even older, above 35.
As well. It could be things like smoking and not looking after yourself. But the interesting thing is that we have over 42% of the causes that are unknown.
Wow.
So take me, for instance, I would say I had a very safe and a very responsible pregnancy, and yet it happened to me. So there's still causes that are still unknown.
Okay. So why is it that they have a higher mortality rate than babies born later, or even within the 40-week period? Is it because vital organs are not well formed at the time? Is that what makes them susceptible to certain disorders?
Yes. Well, when a baby's in the womb for 40 weeks, the reason why it stays in for 40 weeks, and there's various developmental milestones that they go through week by week by week. When you think about it, the lungs are one of the last organs to develop in a baby. And so normally, babies that are born preterm need help in resuscitation, in breathing, etc., because the lungs are not formed, and some of the organs are not formed as well. And then they're also susceptible to infections, things like sepsis and things which kills them. So because they haven't actually had the last few weeks of pregnancy, where in the last few weeks the baby puts on fat, skin. A premature baby's skin is very translucent because it's still forming. So, I mean, I speak from a non-medical perspective, but that's
from
really,
experience.
Yes. So and then the weight of the premature baby. So they can't regulate their own heat, their body heat. They can't. So sometimes there's a lot of things like that because they're just not ready to be out in the world. So the idea of an incubator, for instance, or any of the other interventions is to mimic the situation in the womb as best as you can, and then to support that with medicines and various other interventions to give the baby the chance to put on weight, and then be able to survive by itself.
I'm looking at some of the core programs that you undertake, Little Big Souls, and the very first I see that's glaring at me is the equipment donation program. Indeed, neonatal intensive care equipment is vital if a child stands a chance of survival. What can you say about the existence of such equipment in Ghana? Fully functional incubators, for instance.
Well, let me start. We've been in Ghana now, or we've been operating in Ghana now for the last 6.5, 7 years. And in the beginning, there were lots. You go to some units which didn't have anything at all, or you've been in some units that have loads of equipment but they are not working. The situation's a lot better. I mean, one of our beneficiary hospitals is Tema General, and they are an amazing team, and they really strive to make sure that they don't have a lot of incubators, but they make sure that the incubators are running. But they're expensive. I mean, some incubators are as much as buying a car for some people. So that investment, so the government makes some of that investment into the NICUs, but it's not enough. And it's not just incubators. It's phototherapy units, because jaundice is one of the big things that a baby experiences, so they have to have phototherapy. It's resuscitation equipment and things like that. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the NICU.
But I'm seeing here that medical care doesn't have to be that expensive. I'm looking at some figures from experts at the UN who have shown some interventions that are really very not costly. And there's one, the antenatal steroid injections. This is for mothers in premature labor, which cost about $8 for an injection. I mean, is this not common knowledge in Ghana? Do we not know this?
The thing is, I mean, take some of our hospitals, for instance. A lot of women present themselves literally as preemie mothers at the point of their birth isn't probably in a main hospital, for instance, like maybe Kolebu or any of those things, where I can't speak for what goes on there. But there are lots of referrals into Tema General, which are from rural, all the way down. The Volta region, etc., Ashama, etc. So people have births at home. So that's where the big risk factor is, because if you don't have antenatal care, a doctor isn't going to be able to predict your chances of having a preterm birth. I mean, if you go to a doctor and say, I've been having contractions and I'm 23 weeks, he can have an idea. But if you don't go to a doctor and you just think it's okay, and then suddenly your waters break and you have a baby, then that baby, once that baby's here, they have to do the best that they can with that. There's loads of things. I mean, in the West, there's so many indicators that people have so that we can prepare for the birth. In a birthing suite, for instance, in the West, there's always a neonatologist on hand, so that when the baby's born, and if the baby's, especially if the baby's preemie, a neonatologist has a chance to work on it as quickly as possible, because remember, every minute counts. So in the first, we call it the golden minute, the first minute of a child's life is really important. And those are some of the things that maybe we don't readily have available in our region, and not just in Ghana, but across Africa.
Which is sad, because I'm seeing here, and there are things that if we had would reduce this dire situation. There's the kangaroo care, where the infant is held skin to skin on the mother's chest, and what does that do for the preemie?
That's my absolute favorite, because I think it's the best low-cost intervention that you can have, and the most natural. Because if you think about it, so long as the baby's stable, we don't advocate that for babies who are unstable and need incubator support or mechanical support with breathing. But if a baby is stable, it's one of the things, skin to skin is important, because you're able to regulate the heat of the baby through the heat of the mother. The baby's heartbeat is also regulated by the rhythm of the mother's heartbeat.
That's incredible.
It is, but it's also proven that the feeding is much better. The mother's able to, and think about it, when you have a baby in an incubator, you're looking at it through a pane of glass. You're not touching your baby, and the anxiety is more. But when you have your baby close to you, I think there's a reassurance about that. It doesn't matter how tiny the baby is. So you're actually, I think once your body and your mood and everything is positive, I think you promote that into the baby. But kangaroo mother care is a proven intervention, and it's something that we champion and support a lot, particularly at the Tema General Hospital with the Kangaroo Mother Care Center.
And then another program you undertake, parental support. Is this, as you mentioned that earlier, is this some financial assistance you give to needy families?
It's more than that. If you've ever gone to a maternity unit or a neonatal intensive care unit,
I'm yet to have my triplets. So.
You will find that once your baby's in NICU, you go nowhere. The mother literally stays as close
NICU
to the
neonatal intensive care unit. Yeah.
The mother stays as close to the unit as possible. They have to be able to feed regularly. It could be every 3 hours, whatever. And even if the baby isn't feeding, they have to express milk and everything else. So what we find is that lots of mothers have nowhere to sit, nowhere comfortable to be. And even the basic things about looking after themselves, feeding, clothing yourself, having a shower, all those things, it kind of just goes into the background. So
it's the last thing you're thinking
of. And part of our parental support is to support them in those things. I mean, we give packs which may have beverages, for instance, in it. It could have soap cleaning material. It could have, and it's normally a pack, probably in a plastic container, because they want to use the containers. Yeah. One of the things we were able to do now is, with support from friends in the US, is give them premature baby nappies, preemie nappies, because you can't get them here. Yeah. And the babies are about the size of a bag of sugar, so if you can imagine, really tiny. Yeah, so we do that with wipes, etc. And it's really through a collaboration of people coming together as one to support Little Big Souls programs. The other thing is counseling. When you lose a baby, or sometimes when you actually have a baby, you've never seen a premature baby before. Your first experience is this precious child of yours. So somebody else might look at the baby and think, this is strange, but you might panic, but your instinct kicks in to want to be able to care for that child. So we're able to talk to parents, and lots of us who volunteer for Little Big Souls have been through this. So we come from a place of knowing. We're either mothers who've lost babies or mothers who have babies who have gone through prematurity and now thriving and growing. So and then we also have support from clinicians who support us in volunteering to counsel women. So parental support is big. The money aspect is, yes, we do have times where parents will come to you and they can't afford certain treatments, not because they haven't been able to afford them in the past or the hospital national health insurance scheme doesn't work, but maybe the baby has a peculiar situation that is actually quite needed. So we support that in terms of paying for diagnostics medicines and things like that.
So let's just wrap up now. It's World Prematurity Day today. What are you doing?
Basically, let me tell you, World Prematurity Day is a day that was set up with Little Big Souls, the March of Dimes in the US, the European Foundation for the Newborn, and the National Preemie Foundation. We are the founders. We're so excited about it. It seems as if it's such a long time ago. But now we have over 100 countries involved. And it's just about spreading awareness. We ask every single one of you. Prematurity is not a disease. It's a situation that can affect anyone, regardless of your status, your location, etc. So anyone could be the mother, father, uncle, auntie, friend of someone who was born premature. So we ask you to help spread awareness. Let's get the cultural misconceptions about prematurity out the window. They're just babies born too soon, and they need the time and the attention to catch up. And so we say, we actually ask, we're wearing purple today. Yeah. And purple everywhere. But it's really, wear purple today, talk about us. There's a lot of work that's going to be going on social media. Interact with us, tell us your story, tell people about us, and get involved. And let's make sure that we do give our babies a fighting chance at life.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Edith.
Thank you.
Carey, co-founder of Little Big Souls, and yes, it's World Prematurity Day today. I used to tell people I was born premature because I was very full-figured, and I learned that actually when they survive, they do grow quite well. Really. Yeah, so my excuse, for my size was that I was born a preemie.
Then we all are.
I know.